crazy, aren't they?
Sit down, Wild Bill.
Way too much cake right there, Bill.
Do you believe in the Constitution?
Yes, I do. What I'd like to do before I get going is I'd like to do something that I do quite a bit. Is if there are any veterans in the room, can you please stand? Service to our great nation and for giving us the opportunity to assemble here. It's because of you guys that I'm able to run for Congress. And I want to be really clear with everybody here in this room. This is not about Bobby Schilling. This is about the people's voice going to Washington, D.C. and being heard. Because right now it's not being heard, and we're going to change that here in November. What I like to tell people is that, yes, I do believe in the Constitution of the United States of America. Yes, I do. And, it's interesting what's happening. And we need to pay attention because we have a vicious opposition on the other side. I wasn't going to talk about this, but as everybody in the room knows, I kind of wing it every once in a while. But I want to give you a prime example. There is a World War II veteran in Quincy, Illinois that passed around a piece of paper. And on the piece of paper it had the White House, and it said, America's White House. Not anymore. This guy fought, watched friends die, bled, on and on and on. And he's upset at what's happening in this great nation. But what my opponent did was he took that veteran's piece of paper and he added one word to it. And you know what? Instead of saying not anymore, they added not white anymore. And that's what we're up against, is a constant divide from the other side. And you know what? We're not going to sit down and shut up. We're going to take it to them. We're going to defeat these guys that are ruining our great nation. And when I look around and I see the candidates, and I see a mayor like Don Welver, we bring something really awesome to the table. And it's called class, and it's called common sense. And thank you, Don, for doing that for Molten. I want to do something else that's a little different. I want to reach out, and I'm not going to be able to call everybody's name out, but there's a lot of Republicans that have stuck by this party for the years when we've been down in the dumps. And you know what? A lot of them are still here. And guess what they're getting to see? They're getting to see their party being taken back by conservative Americans. Thank you. Yeah. Kind of like to do the Tea Party part where it's a little wild on speech. A couple of things that I'd like to talk to you folks a little bit about is, some people don't know me. My wife, Christy, is right back there with my son, Tony. Christy and Tony. When we first got into this thing, we did a lot of talking and praying and discerning about this before we decided to run. And Christy, thank God we all have better halves, right, guys? But she said, whatever you feel called to do, Bobby, I'm behind you 110%. And some nights I'm out on the road for 14 to 16 hours, and I come home, and 110%. But we understand as a family what is at risk here. And my kids, I got a son here and there. Here, raise your hand. That's a 20-year-old that took over a business that I've been running for the last 12 years. And I threw him in there. I said, you know what, if it fails, it doesn't matter because this is too important. I need to get involved. I threw that kid in, and he had no idea what he was getting into, but he does now. So I want to thank Aaron. And my son Terry is back here also, who's been wreaking havoc on the opposition, as they would say. But, you know, it's amazing because I was talking to some good friends of mine in the bushes here earlier, and, you know, I said that a couple weeks ago, I was praying about, man, I need to get some national attention. Holy cow, I didn't know that's what was going to happen, but, you know, here's the thing that we will do as a race, and I can promise you this, is that when we run our race, it's going to be clean, it's going to be crisp, and it's going to be to the issues. We will crush these guys on the issues and on the issues alone. People aren't aware of the contract that I did with the 17th Congressional District. And the one thing that I did was I term limited myself to 8 years. Because I believe that our founders, when they set this up, they set it up for people like us right here in this room to take our tool belt off, set it to the side, go in, serve the country, not yourself, come back home and put your tool belt back on. You know, and that's one thing that's nice about owning a business is that, you know, when I get all done after my 8 years is up, I can come back home and I can go spin pizzas again. You know, so that is important, and, you know, it's an honor. It's not a privilege to serve the people of the 17th Congressional District or to serve any office whatsoever. It's an honor because the people are entrusting you with their vote to go and take their voice to Washington, D.C., and not whatever Nancy Pelosi's telling you to do. Right on? Another one of the parts of the contract that I did was I will not take any raises while I'm in Congress. You know, here last year, Congress took another raise. We've got companies closing, people struggling, and Congress is still into our pockets. And I think that's wrong. Another thing that I've done is I've rejected the congressional pension. After 5 years, Congress gets a pension. Our founders didn't set this up to be career, for people to be career politicians. They set it up to go serve, and that was it. Christy and I talked, and another thing we're doing is when we get elected, we're going to bring the current health care that we have today with us. We're not going to take the stuff that's offered from Washington. We're going to bring our own. You know, because when my dad was still alive, he told me, you know what, Bobby? You always lead by example. And what I hope to do by doing that is to have other congressmen and women do a contract similar to that, or the voters, the people, we the people, say, hey, you're going to be like that crazy guy with the 10 kids from Illinois? You know, so, you know, I think that's really important to know. And Jason talked a little bit about health care. I don't even like to call it reform. Takeover is what I would call it. Several different things weren't addressed. First off is so many backroom deals. So many backroom deals. And Jason hit it right on the money is, you know, we took Chicago politics to Washington, D.C. And, you know, it's out of hand. And here's what I'd like to do, and I'm almost ready, is I would like to submit to every single person in this room that, you know, it's something that you hear when you go to a funeral in the eulogy. They talk about your dash of life. And I want everybody here to know that our dash of life is probably the most important dash in American history. And here's why. Because our dash is going down as the dash of life that allowed socialism to take over this country, or where the people stood up and said, hey, enough's enough, we're taking our country back, let's get it on. Last thing I'd like to talk to you is, today I had a telephone conversation with a guy by the name of Joe the Plumber. Joe the Plumber's coming to New Windsor, Illinois on May the 22nd at 7 o'clock at the Big Red Barn to support the Bobby Schilling for Congress campaign. We're going to see everybody there. So anyway, I'm all done. I'll be around for a while, so if anybody has any questions. My name is Bobby Schilling. I'm from Colonia, Illinois. I've got 10 kids, and I drive a Harley Davidson.